Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I thought we'd have a little look at a certain stomp box in plugin form. Now, JHS Pedals has brought out the Pack Rat, which is basically 9 Proco Rat circuit kind of designs in one pedal. And given that, I thought I'd take a look at some of the Rat plugins I have in my DAW and kind of compare them, do a little bit of a shootout, that kind of thing, just to see like what sounds good, what doesn't sound good, which really talks to me. It would be cool to compare to a hardware Rat, but I don't actually have a current Proco model Rat. I've got a couple of pedals based on the Rat design. But then again, I think in the DAW environment, it's very different to using an actual pedal. So we're just going to have a look at the plugins, compare them, and see, you know, which ones I like, which I don't. So the way we're going to do it is I'm just going to play through each plugin individually. We're going to have a look at the controls and stuff and go through it and see what sounds we like. And then at the end, I'm going to do a comparison, basically dial in the best tone for a riff from each of the plugins, and then we'll shoot them out. That way you can get kind of direct comparisons. But yeah, I think some of these plugins sound better than others for certain different sounds. They all sound quite different actually, though they kind of have that Rat thing going on. So the plugins we're looking at is the TSE R47, the Nembrini Audio Black, the IK Multimedia ProDrive, and the Guitar Rig 5 from Native Instruments Cat. So the Cat's probably the oldest one and probably the worst sounding one. And the ProDrive, I'm not sure it's been updated. It was I got it in the Amplitube metal I got a couple of years ago, fair few years ago, 5 years ago or something. But I'm not sure if they've updated it. It sounds pretty good. The Black was just released, and the TSE R47's been around for a while, and that's a free plugin. So we're going to start with that one and go through them and just kind of see how we go. So I'm running into THU, the Slate version, and we're running a Chop Tones guitar rig based on the Pete Thorne amp. So that's what we're running for the clean sound, and all the pedals will be running into that. So this is what it's like with the Washburn on the humbucker. And you can hear we're getting just a little bit of edge there. I feel like most distortion pedals, especially old school ones, like a little bit of edge. They don't like clean, but fairly kind of balanced sound. I think something I would kind of work with a distortion pedal. So let's now go straight into our first pedal, the TSE. Now I've started all of these at 12 o'clock, but with the volume kind of compensated, so we've kind of got similar volumes, and you'll see why that's very important and some downfalls of some plugins when it comes to volume. So let's start off with the TSE R47. Okay, so let's kick in some of that filter. That drive up. To me, that's that ratty flavor. It's like this low mids thing going on when you turn the drive up. You know, there's a lot of treble going on if you don't use the filter. Filter's pretty much a high frequency roll off. It's a low pass filter, so you kind of use that a lot to dial it in on a real Rat. So that's great, and we've got plenty of volume, which is great because I like to boost other plugins, and some plugins like it, some plugins don't, but you know, like you would in the real world, kind of boost going into it. Back to clean. Some bad playing. Had to raise the action a little bit on this guitar because of fret buzz, so I'm having a few issues with it not getting used to playing, so apologies for the bad playing. Let's bring the drive down and see how clean it gets. I mean, that's too quiet, although you can boost up the volume. Well, that kind of works. It's like a clean boost there. Use a bit more filter. Really, the best drive sounds for me from a Rat is 12 o'clock onwards, really. So let's go all the way full with the filter like that. Switch to neck single coil. Sounds like a Rat to me. While we're on this, let's see how bright the filter gets. Gets kind of fizzy, but that's what a Rat does, and it's kind of got that fuzzy, fizzy thing going on when you crank the gain and the filter, or the drive. So let's have a look now at the Nembrini Black. Again, for a refresher, here's our clean tone. Now, first off problem I found with the Nembrini, which you might be able to see, is there's not enough volume. The level is cranked, and with the gain and filter set like this, it's not even unity. It sounds kind of unity because there's enough compression, but it's just getting lost, which is... Obviously, you can compensate with gain plugins, but like in a plugin, you should be able to give heaps of volume. There shouldn't be any issue with adding volume in a plugin. It's just simple digital gain. So I don't know. I love Nembrini plugins, but I don't know what they were kind of thinking here. And the tone's a little more scooped than the TSE, but let's keep going through it. A little bit more fizz on the top. Let's darken a bit. So the filter acts a bit differently and it's a bit too dark for me. It kind of, to get that fizz out there, you kind of lose all your definition. And that with the level loss is... Just to show how much level we're losing, let's just go to kind of 12 o'clock, which is normally where you'd want Unity to be. Yeah, so not completely digging the Nembrini. I thought this would be the game-changing one. Let's just have a look at the drive. You don't lose a lot of volume with the drive, which is kind of nice given the lack of volume. It's just like unusably dark. Okay, let's crank it all the way and have a look at that filter. Now what's going to matter is what you're feeding into. Maybe with this amp, this plugin is a bit fizzy, but in a different amp, the TSE is going to be a little bit kind of mid-focused. Though this really lacks that low mids that I'm thinking that I want in a Rat. But still, you know, there's some cool sounds in there. I don't want to be completely negative, it still sounds cool. And Nembrini seem to always update their plugins with any issues, so maybe they'll update it with more level and a bit of a different filter, who knows. Let's move on to the ProDrive, which is pretty old. Have to set the filter really low on this one to kind of get that high end. But so much volume, it has to be all the way down here. Cool. It doesn't feel quite as nice as the TSE, but it's pretty close tone-wise. Let's go low drive. that really gets clean. This is clean. It's like an EQ shift, really. Let's get it up a bit more. If you wanted to use it as more of a boost, this might be the plugin, and we are going to try that later. This might be the plugin that kind of works for you because it's got plenty of volume, and of course with IK Multimedia plugins, you've got input and output. At least Amplitube has input and output. T-Rex does as well. Ooh, that's fat. So it's got that low mid. That's the thing I really like about Rat. Try single coils. We didn't try single coils on the Black. It's a great kind of medium, low gain kind of solo tone. No, better just the neck. Cool, let's boost up the distortion, have a look at that filter. Heaps of volume with it fully open. Just really aggressive, doesn't have that fizz that the Nembrini has. It's a different frequency you've got there. Let's see as we bring it up. Does get really dark there. And it's practically unusable, right? The sweet spot's really around here somewhere. So that's a ProDrive. I'm pleasantly surprised with that, considering it's such an old overdrive distortion kind of. I think it's from Amplitube 3. So I don't know if they've updated it. I'm using Amplitube 5, but like I purchased it with Amplitube Metal like years ago. So that's cool. That's cool. So last one we have is definitely old, and that is Guitar Rig 5's Cat. Now I think this came from Guitar Rig 3 possibly. I can't remember, but yeah, this is old. But let's listen to it. Now we are seeming to clip the front of Guitar Rig for some reason. Okay, we need more volume. Let's check our clean. Yeah, kind of a bit nasal in the mids there. But you have more options here, so I wonder if we bring up the treble and the bass and a bit more balls. Let's see. Let's bring the volume down to make up for the balls. That's too much bass. Tone. Tone seems to be mid control. I mean, you wouldn't use a rat for chugging like that. She kind of works. That's something my hardware pedals cannot do, especially the Retrosonic. It really farts out when you do that kind of stuff. I find sometimes I can use a tube screamer in front of it that cuts the low end and adjusts the levels and kind of get some cool stuff out of it. These controls actually make the Cat way better sounding. It sounded kind of weak and thin, and then with some balls and adjusting that tone, that's quite a usable kind of rat tone. So I like it. Okay, so let's do like a bit of a quick fire, just play a single riff through each of them, and then we'll actually do like kind of in the mix comparison. I'm gonna double track some guitars, set them all up, and you can kind of hear it back to back. But quick fire first. So let's start with the TSE. What we're gonna do, we're just gonna dial it in. So full drive with the filter and volume to suit. A little bit more filter. Okay, so that's the TSE. We'll set them up. So we're going to dial them all in, and then I'll see if I can, maybe I can edit it back to back. We'll see how we go. That's an Nembrini, guitar rig. Oh no, guitar rig's this one. Put that full. Yeah, that's that, and Amplitube. Okay, let's go down the list. So, starting off with the TSE R47. Nembrini. Amplitube. And guitar rig. Okay, so now we've got all these rats head to head. So what we're going to do, they're going to be in the mix. We're going to switch between all of them, and you're going to kind of hear what they sound like set up specifically for this riff. Okay, so now I've opened this track here and split the guitar into 4 different segments. So this is a guitar riff, and we've looped it in 4 different segments, and each segment is a different rat pedal. So we've got the TSE R47, the Nembrini Audio Black, the Guitar Rig Cat, and the ProDrive. So you can see here each section is a different plugin, and we'll repeat it. Now that's all running into the Audio Assault Bulldog, which is a VHT style emulation. I've put it on the clean channel. We're running it into a Mesa style cab. So that's what we've got here for this basically mono riff. So this way we can compare all the plugins on the same riff. I've already just set up settings that sound good for the riff to me. I've gone for this kind of sludgy, growly kind of tone and set that all up. And then what we've got is the same again underneath, but in stereo with the drums, a lead guitar, all the kind of track together. And we'll go through that in a second. So we'll go through this mono first, which is just going to be just the guitar tracks. Then we'll do like an in the mix where I've actually got 2 different rat settings for each of the plugins. We're running into different amp sims on left and right. You can hear it with bass, drums, and like this clean lead, which would be really cool. So let's start off with this. We're just going to loop it. You're just going to see it. I'll put up which plugin it is in post so you'll be able to tell. So one main thing that stands up as we go through that is that the R47, like we did when we were playing guitar, has so much more mid-forward character. It's got a lot more mids and a lot less of that fizzy high end, whereas the Black is almost the opposite. It's a bit scooped in the mids and a lot more kind of upper treble going on. So it really depends on what you're going for, but very different there. The Cat, we managed to get kind of close to the Black in a way, slightly different, but very close. And the ProDrive has more of that mid character, but was lacking the kind of aggression in the gain and kind of not enough gain. As you can see, I've cranked up the distortion. It's still not as aggressive as the others, and they don't have their drive/distortion anywhere near as high. So yeah, that brightness and aggressiveness doesn't really come through with the ProDrive. So let's move on to the stereo now. Okay, so now we've got it kind of the same deal, right? Same riff, but we've got it with drums, bass, and we've got this like slightly crunchy, clean guitar bit over the top. So what I've done is I've got all of the left. So this was a take that was on the left side, so the whole track is double tracked, same riff, double tracked. The left is going through the Bulldog on the clean settings, so I can show you what that quickly looks like. So we got the Bulldog on the clean setting and we're going through a Mesa cab. And then the right side is the AHM 5050, which is meant to be a 5153. And we're running that through a similar Mesa cab, different mics, slightly different settings and all that. One thing I noticed is the 5050 is a lot more grainy. It's got this kind of more fizzy character and less kind of thickness. So I dialed back the gain and kind of changed the filter settings on all of those rats for the right side to kind of get it to sit better together. And same thing again, what we're going to do, loop it through, and I'll put up in post which one we're listening to, but you should be able to see as this moves through which one we're kind of going through. So let's just listen to it with bass and drums and this clean riff on loop and see how they compare. now you can really hear how the ProDrive just does not have enough drive and aggression. That gain structure just doesn't sound the same as the others. In this application, it really depends on what you're going for. I actually liked the Nembrini a lot more this time because I think that kind of scoop thing kind of works with this mix. My favorite is still the TSE R47, and the Cat kind of sounded in between the Black and the R47, but just doesn't have as much guts or balls or whatever, even with the balls control up, as those two. It's just a little bit more plasticky. But yeah, definitely all usable. This song isn't necessarily going to be a Rat, though I think it works with it. I think maybe a Rat blended with a gained amp channel, which is something I really like doing, getting either fuzz pedals or Rats into a clean amp and blending that with like a high gain amp, because it gives it just a little bit more character, a little bit different, especially like these days when everyone kind of just flogging 5150s or rectifiers or whatever into a V30 Mesa cab. It kind of gives this different texture, this kind of vintage, kind of growly texture. Really cool. So thanks. It's been a fairly long video as we've looked at technically 4 different plugins in different ways. Hope you got something out of it. I'd be going grabbing R47 if you don't have it. Even if you don't like Rats, it might just be sometime that you're working on a production and you want something in that kind of vein. One thing we didn't do is put them on bass. If you want it on bass, maybe we'll do a different video on different distortions in bass, and I'll pick some of these and put them on bass, because yeah, stomp boxes on bass, especially vintage stomp boxes like Rats and Big Muffs, are much loved, especially in like the stoner rock kind of crowd. They sound great on that kind of really fat, loose kind of bass sound. So as always, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.